Okay, I'm gonna come out my hair, and I might just briefly talk about something called eating down the fridge. So usually, before my schedule changed and a lot of things happened in the last week or so, I would kind of shop a couple times a week. But I realized I haven't been shopping to the grocery store, so I have some frozen fruit and veggies and stuff, but I'm kind of running low. So I've just been wanting to do this for a while. Like I always hate, like one thing I really hate is because I'm not like the typical American. Like one thing I just thought was really insulting about the whole COVID thing is they would tell people you should stock up for groceries for like 2 weeks, 2 weeks, because that's just like if you travel on foot or something. Hi, how you doing? I'm probably just gonna braid it. If you walk to and from work into the store, you can't buy 2 weeks of groceries. And I'm just like, even if I get Instacart like once in a while, I'm not going to be able to stock up. And honestly, I kind of hate stocking up because I hate stocking up on groceries because I feel like unless you've really eaten down your fridge nicely, very well, like ate almost all your food, there's always food that goes to waste. So I like to once in a while, and yes, sometimes when you eat a lot of fruit and veggies, there's going to be food that goes to waste. Some of it, I can't get to all of it. Like I have some cilantro that I should have probably cut up. I even have like the spaghetti squash right here. So I was going to make the spaghetti squash for, I still haven't gotten around to it yet. So anyhow, I'm going to just be combing my hair and kind of just talking a little bit. Let's see. No, I don't, because I have one hairdo that I like. I don't get tired of it. Um, The reason I have one hairdo is because this is the hairdo that works best for me. I'm not into doing multiple types of hairdos. I like having just one signature look. And I think people with long hair, a lot of us gravitate to more signature looks than like wanting to change up our hair all the time. I think more people with short hair, like they kind of want to change up their hair more. So you'll find more people in the long hair community. Well, not everybody. I mean, some people are into, but most people that have really long hair, they wear it up and they have a couple of different hairstyles and that's it. But no, it's good to have a signature hairstyle. And I encourage everybody that wants to grow their hair long, like pick a signature hairstyle, and the braid really works. It's a good one, very good one, like especially when you work and stuff. Keeps the hair off your face, like, because I wear a mask for 8 hours a day at work. I cannot wear my hair in a bun too, with glasses, mask, and a bun. It's just too much. So anyway, I've been eating down my fridge, and I realized like I'm kind of getting to the odd ends of things. Like there's not much food left. I'm just like, but I'm kind of proud of myself in a way. Like I have a lot of dry goods though still. Probably not because down, like okay, down just means you're not wearing your hair up. Loose, okay. I'm a stickler for the English language. Loose means you're wearing hair loose. Down doesn't mean loose. See? Nuance of language. Up means up. A braid is in a braid, which is down. Technically, it's not up. And loose is free flowing. So I thought about the name of my channel before I started it. I'm not changing its name because that would break your SEO and stuff. So, search engine op. Nah, it's sticking. Besides, when I comb my hair out, it's down, so that's good enough. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna eat. I pretty much ate down my fridge. Might go shopping tonight or tomorrow night, but I kind of like the whole idea of just eating down your fridge, because then you know that you've ate most of your food, and you feel like you waste less. And yeah, so and I don't really think I like this. I think like there's been a big problem with the pandemic, like where they keep telling people to stock up for groceries for 2 weeks. It's ridiculous because first off, they discriminated against essential workers, which were the minorities of our state, because they have to go out and work every day. They don't have the luxury of just like stocking up for 2 weeks. If somebody's working like in a grocery store or Amazon or something, they go to the store when they can, okay? They don't have like this privilege and it didn't make any sense. And if you're wearing a mask and you're going to the store, you're gonna be fine. You just keep your distance from people. And I have shopped and I just keep my distance from people and I wear a mask. And so yeah, just think for yourselves, everybody. Don't because I feel like some of the things they've told people to do are just not realistic. And it's not fair to people on fixed budgets either, because a lot of these people that they're saying that they should stock up for 2 weeks, people aren't living paycheck to paycheck. They might not be able to stock up for 2 weeks on groceries. You don't know their income, okay? You have no clue. Okay, see, that's what my hair looks like now. So, yeah, that's just my take on, like, but for me personally, I just shop usually a few times a week because I don't drive. And also, I like fresher things. And yeah, I'm not gonna, like, don't change intrinsically who you are just because, like, they suggest something that might not be helpful to you. Because, I don't think that's not a helpful guideline for most people. It just isn't. Like, unless you can really stock up and you like to eat a lot of stuff that you freeze. If you're not into fresh fruits and veggies, yeah, you probably could go 2 weeks without shopping. But I get bored. Like, I'm a foodie, okay? Foodies, okay. Another thing too, foodies don't do carnivore diet. Foodies don't do like raw vegan diet. Foodies like a variety of everything. They like fat, they like carbs, they like protein. And that's one thing I've realized about myself. I feel like every micronutrient has a place in my diet and everything tastes good. And I want a little bit of everything in my diet. So yeah, I'm gonna have fresh stuff in my diet. I'm not gonna be like, oh my God, I can't go to the store because like no. So yeah, I stick up for people who walk or people who are on fixed incomes, and I'm just like, all these things that they said weren't true. I'm probably not doing a super high ponytail today. I just said I know you liked it, but that takes a lot of combing, so probably not. I just do what my hair wants to do, and it doesn't have hours to be combed out to where I would feel comfortable doing that. Not today. I'm just gonna smoothly comb my hair down. I might do that again someday, but my hair was shorter when I used to wear it in a slightly higher ponytail on this channel. So I haven't done that in a while. Because the longer your hair gets, it's just there's more weight right here. I think there is a way you could do it though. Like if you do a high ponytail, I have to be in the mood to do a hairstyle, not be working. Like I have so many criteria. If I want to do a slightly different hairstyle, I have to be in the mood. I have to not be working that day. I just have to feel like I have free time. Because, I'm not one of those people that's going to rip a brush through my hair just to do a hairstyle. I'm just not going to do it. I refuse to do it. That's another thing, too. I think, yeah, I have so many opinions on hair, right? I get people like to do a lot of different hairstyles, but I can't help but think people's not wanting to slow down and just wanting to do so many different hairstyles like all the time and do them quickly and ripping a brush through their hair. And then they're trying all these hacks like to try and make their hair grow longer. But they're probably losing length because they're constantly brushing their hair. And this is another thing too. I don't want to knock anybody doing like these hair growth challenges or anything because I think that's great. Like if people want to try things, but there's something really I find problematic is there's ones, okay, where they say put aloe vera gel on your hair for 7 days straight. I don't think that's a good idea. Okay, let me just tell you why. I tried that once, the natural aloe vera gel, and I put it on my hair. I didn't rinse it out, okay, because I just did it as a leave-in, which you can, by the way, if you have more wavy, heavier hair. But I didn't really like it. Made my hair look shiny the next day, but I didn't like how it tangled my hair up. I really didn't appreciate that, like honestly. So I feel like it's problematic. So now there's videos where people are putting aloe gel and flaxseed gel in their hair every day for 7 days. Nope, I don't because this is a video channel about long hair. I don't want to. Like, that's not my channel. There are some people right now that have slightly longer hair that are cutting their hair shorter. You probably should talk to them about that. They're open to having shorter hairstyles. I'm not, you see. I different mindset. So like I know there's a lot of people in the long hair community, like they're beginning to cut their hair back, but there seems to be this narrative or this conversation about cutting their hair back, there's still people growing their hair long. And I'm like the one that doesn't want to. Like I kind of okay. Like I was for a while feeling like, oh my gosh, like it's so nice to have really thick ends and to trim them. But then I thought about it. There's a lot of people with really short hair that thin out their ends. So I didn't understand like if your hair gets a little tapered just from natural long, and my hair's pretty thick on the end still. If it gets a little tapered, that doesn't bother me. Like no, I didn't even like having shoulder length hair. I kind of hated it really. Um, my hair doesn't give me headaches though. It's the way I wear my hair. Like if I put it in a braid, it doesn't give me headaches. I'm tender-headed anyway. Like if even if I had short hair and I was wearing a lot of the hairstyles people wear, I still wouldn't like that. I just go for comfort over like I don't know, like a lot of the hairstyles that people think are so cool, I don't really like them that much. I'm just not a hairstyle person. Like I like braids. Like I don't know. I'm not that excited. Like I've always just kind of I think if anybody looks at my other channel too, you'll see I wore my hair in a braid. Occasionally when my hair is a little bit shorter, like maybe like almost 10 years ago, I wore it in a half up in a rare occasion, but I still wear my hair in a braid. So yeah, I've never been a hairstyle kind of person. I'm just not like what if I think that's boring? I kind of do. Like, I don't like changing a lot. I like consistency and knowing your mind. Probably not today because I get my hair arranged and like that's that. Like, this is just to get my hair in a style. Look, I'm not knocking people who want to try different hairstyles. I'm just like, yeah, I'm not that interested. Oh yeah, what was I talking about anyway? Oh yeah, the whole like I feel like if you're trying to grow your hair long, and you're doing a lot of different styles, you're just gonna also do more mechanical damage to your hair because it seems like a lot of these people that are trying to grow their hair long, I know a couple different things, and a lot of people probably say, "Oh, this is being criticism," but I can tell you what they're doing to their hair that's preventing their hair from growing long because their hair is growing out of their head, so it is growing long, but they're heat styling their hair. They're putting different serums in their hair every day. They're just they're trying too many different styles. They're wearing their hair loose too often. I think even if you do have shoulder length to mid back length hair and it's on the thicker side, you're wearing it loose, okay? So you're tangling your hair up quite a bit. So that is going to lead to damage. And a lot of people they have a brush that they take with them. And I kind of remember this. And I never really like to do this personally, but people would just take a brush with them and then they pull it through the hair like really hard. It's just very I will do it soon when I have a little bit more time. It's about scheduling and time. Yeah, I did a live stream last night. I do a weekly live stream and it's not about hair, but if you ever want to check out Aya Katz's channel, like last night we did a live stream with Kate Gladstone where we talked about handwriting, and Aya has a chimpanzee named Bo, and he doesn't really write. I mean, he doesn't write, but he likes to try and draw with a pen. So that's what we talked about last night. And then we have another topic coming up for Friday. It's going to be really interesting. So anyway, I've kind of been because I kind of brought this up onto my radar. Um, some people might find this very fascinating. We're going to talk about the differences between narcissism and autism because sometimes people who are autistic are accused of not like being compassionate about people. Like neurotypicals like will accuse them of that, but it's not true, you see. Whereas there's a lot of people that are narcissistic in our culture, from politicians to celebrities, and they kind of get away. Like people think that they are very compassionate people because they will say certain things to flatter people. Like they know how to work a crowd, but narcissistic people, they're very selfish and they don't really care about other people. They use people to their advantage. Whereas there's nothing wrong like with people being autistic. Actually, a lot of autistic people are very intelligent and very analytical. So I knows a lot about this topic, and we're going to be talking about that on her channel on Friday. We're actually pre-recording it because she's doing something for Easter. So I don't know if people would find that interesting. So I was just going to talk about that because I have been listening. Okay, I've been listening to this person called Dr. Romney lately, just trying to figure out narcissistic personality types. And it's so fascinating. So I want to talk a little bit about this too. I'm talking about so many different things. So I just find it so fascinating in our culture. Like people are kind of mean to people that are autistic. They're just cruel to them, in my opinion. Like they're like, well, they don't say and do the right things, and they don't like follow social cues. But that's just because autistic people are wired differently. Like I'm not autistic. I can't really tell you all the details, but I knows a lot about this topic. They just think differently, and they tend to be very analytical people that know a lot about different fields, and they might just not be into interpersonal interactions. Whereas narcissistic people, some people think, wow, they're such a good person. Like they're so social. Like there's a lot of politicians that are narcissists, and people will buy or drink the Kool-Aid, or just like celebrities, like people give a free pass because they think, oh, these people care about other people. They say all the right things. Whereas those people tend to just use others to their benefit. So I might not be explaining exactly the topic as Aya is. She'll talk about it a little bit more in that video because this is something she's kind of put onto my radar. But one thing I have found very fascinating, though, just if you've ever dealt with a narcissistic person, you should definitely watch Dr. Romney's videos, because a lot of just behaviors that I see, like, okay, this has kind of been my experience. I feel like just I'm kind of a docile person in some ways in social settings. Like I'm not somebody that's gonna be real outspoken or like confrontational. And I feel like sometimes I've been taken in by narcissists before. Like on several different occasions, I really like narcissistic people will say things that flatter me and I would fall for it. And it's just interesting. Like I realized later, why do I fall for like this kind of stuff? I'm just like, because I fell for like somebody being flattering, but the things they were saying weren't really true. It's just like a script. It's such an interesting topic. But anyway, I was going to talk more about it on Friday. My scrunchie isn't ready yet. I'm still kind of combing out my hair because I was talking about some other topics I'm going to talk about. It's like, okay, just on my other live stream. But here's the scrunchie. Okay, so here's another example. Here's another example. The whole, and some people probably will get mad about this. I don't think Joe Biden or Donald Trump are either good presidents. I'm not impressed with either one of them. Like both of their policies are so problematic to me. And you don't even have to be political, okay? It's just a lot of the things that Joe Biden keeps pushing. And I'm just like, okay, so he is kind of going for the liberal end of the spectrum. And then Trump went for like the more radical end of the spectrum. But like, where's the libertarianism in it all? I'm just like, ugh, like, that's another thing too. It's like everybody just wants to rack up the national debt and they don't think about the future. And they're just like, we need to do this issue and that. Whereas like I don't know. And people are still drinking the political Kool-Aid. I'm just like, the economy is not really getting better, and I don't feel like Biden policies are going to help it. But hey, whatever. I'm just not a fan of either of them. Like, I really didn't like Trump. I'm kind of glad he's gone because we don't have to hear all the weird things he said every day. But now I'm just like annoyed when I see Biden. He's just tripping. Like, he's honestly, Biden's too old to be president. That's my view. And he's having like comprehension issues when he's giving a speech, and it just seems like, I don't know, he was the hamburger VP. I never took him that seriously, like when he was with Obama. He wasn't like, I mean, listen, historically, the vice presidency is considered warm spit, and I just feel like, okay, there was a time when Biden had more clarity, but what did he use his clarity for? Oh, passing legislation to put people in prison. To like, and he said like really problematic things about unwed mothers. I just don't like a lot of things he said. I just am not a fan. I'm like, please don't drink that political Kool-Aid. Can you grow up and grow away from the Democrat Party, grow away from Republican Party? Just do something healthy for your mind. Like, every time I hear people just say, oh, you have to do this to be a good person, you don't, okay? Maybe explore independent parties if you're going to be political. But even again, I'm kind of over politics. I'm going to vote and stuff, but I'm just like, no, it's so unhealthy. And nobody's talking about the elephant in the room anyway. I probably wouldn't ever be on one of those shows because I don't even know what Family Feud's like anymore. I don't watch TV really. I don't know. Like, my sister was on The Price is Right. By the way, she didn't get to be featured, but years ago, okay, if you live in California, you could try to get on The Price is Right. So she was so excited, and I never wanted to be on The Price is Right. I didn't think I'd have a chance anyway, and it turned out they didn't either. Like, they randomly picked people from the audience. So like, they went down to wherever they filmed it, and they had to wait like in a line, and I will not wait in lines to do things. That's just my MO. I'm not going to wait in a line to be in a show. And then they sat in the audience, and I guess they picked a few people, but it's like they waited all day and they didn't even get picked to be on the show. So I don't know, like, I don't want to be on a show really. I don't foresee that. It's not something I ever wanted to do. When I was younger, I would watch Jeopardy sometimes, but that was about as far as it went. And I think after college, I just didn't really watch Jeopardy either. So I watch YouTubers. I watch some YouTube. I watch vegan YouTubers. I watch some history YouTubers. I work on my own YouTube channel, so I don't think I'm ever going to be on a game show. No, I don't think that would happen. I don't even know who hosts those game shows anymore. I think, what was it, Drew Carey was hosting The Price is Right for a while. That's about as much as I know. Oh, it's Steve Harvey? Okay. Yes, I like to talk a lot. Oh, a game show? I don't know. Like, I'm not sure because I guess I would just wear my hair like I usually do because I don't think, yeah, I think I would just wear it like I usually do. I don't, I do. It's interesting though. People say I don't do different kinds of braids. I do the three braids within a braid though. So that's not true. And I did the Lady Asian braid. So I actually do a few different kinds of hairstyles. And I feel like, now that I think about it, okay, they might look like not as complicated, but they're actually more interesting than like some of the short people hairstyles. I don't know. I was kind of thinking about that because I'm like, I don't know. I don't see people do like intricate braids and stuff. Like, you know, I just don't. I'd probably just wear my hair in a braid. I wonder what people think, like, when they come to my channel, do they feel like I'm somebody that does a lot of hairstyles? I never pretended to be. I've done my hair in fishtail braids when I feel like it. I like braids. So as you're gonna see after a while, I love to braid my hair. That's about it. A lot of people don't braid their hair. Like, I'm like, I don't know. I always wonder, like, why don't more people braid their hair? And yes, I like to talk a lot when I'm in the chatty Cathy mood. I'm gonna put some of the, all right, Yves Rocher Manoy oil. This is Yves Rocher. I still love this. It's the Manoy to Tahiti. Like some people were trying to diss this. They're like, well, it's not 100% coconut oil, but it says in here that, it's 97% natural. And back in the day, when you used to order the Yves Rocher oil, it was thicker because it was like a more unrefined coconut oil. But this actually, they just add a few ingredients to make the oil flow better. And I actually still really like it. And I've thought about it. You know what? If you don't have time to warm up oil to put in your hair every day, this stuff is amazing. So you know what? Yves Rocher should like sponsor me because hey, Yves Rocher, this is my favorite oil and I put it in my hair every day. So people always ask me like, what product do I use all the time? Like for 20 years, like, oh, Yves Rocher. I love it. Okay. It's such a good product. Like you have to order it and it takes a while to get to you. This one's made in France, so they like ship it. So it takes a few weeks. It might take longer. I don't know with shipping right now. I don't think it should because it's not going through the Suez Canal though. Did you guys hear about that by the way? Like the shipping debacle? It's funny though because okay, I feel like this whole like it's not funny that things are getting delayed, but the whole shipping debacle is kind of funny because it's indicative of how people want to stay home, okay? Okay, they're telling people don't go out and buy things at the store. Like, you know, you should order everything. So that's what people are doing. They're ordering everything, right? They're staying home more. And there's nothing wrong with like, but like maybe you would be better off just going to the store and buying an item that's there as opposed to just ordering lots of random things. Because, oh, look what happened. We're having like a little bit of a shipping crisis with the boat that got stuck on the Suez Canal and it's going to impact shipping for a few days. Because we have this thing called on demand shipping now, and people just want to order. Like, it was kind of funny. Like, this one article was saying people think it's magical. They think that they go online, they click on something, and it magically comes. That's why we actually have problems with the supply chain because there's actual warehouses that are not filled with things right now. Like, mask. Like, if you wear the paper mask, which, by the way, if you work with the public, the paper mask is so much more comfortable. I'm not going to mess with cloth masks anymore because they just, yeah, they would bunch up and they got so hot. So I wore the paper ones, but you kind of do need a plan when you buy them because, there was a shortage of them for a bit because, we have this magical supply chain where people just order everything and they expect it to show up. And I'm not really subscribed to anybody, but some things that just came up on my feed. I had seen Naturally Antonia. She seems pretty cool, and I think her friend Organically Anna, I had seen them. Like, I'm not really subscribed to their channel. I just sometimes skip their videos recommended. And then there's another woman that has really long hair that everybody kind of knows about. She's more mysterious, like Legia Noir. So, and there was another long hair YouTuber who I actually was friends with. And then I am actually like subscribed to JJ Long Hair. She has very long hair. So there's a few people I've watched and they kind of all have different takes on long hair. Like they all have different opinions. I think the difference between other long hair channels and mine is they do more DIY. They're more tutorial. And I think anybody who watches my channel, they kind of see I just do kind of like I share long hair. But honestly, what do I have a penchant for? I love to talk, okay? I love current events when you look at it in a more balanced perspective. I love talking about history and culture. So, like, I like to comb my hair and talk about social issues. I like to talk and drink coffee. So, I like to live stream. I don't really have, like, this very set. I think that's what's different between me and other long hair YouTubers is they're actually just more like showing tutorial, and I'm not really like, I mean, there's a few things I've shown with hair, but I'm not a tutorial kind of person really. But they all have really good tutorials on their channel, like if you're looking for things like hair sticks and Just like people that are more interested in a variety of hairstyles, there are other YouTubers that are more interested in that than me. So there's a few of them out there. You just have to type in long hair on YouTube and you'll find a lot of different things. Or you could go on Instagram. So yeah, I've seen a few people recommended. There's some cool people on YouTube that talk about long hair. Um, I don't watch their videos all the time. It's just different things that pop up on my feed, more or less, I think. I'm just combing my hair out still, see? Probably gonna put a little bit more oil in it 'cause it's like tangling on the bottom. I need to get it nice and smooth. I actually like that I take my time. Like, I don't know if other people, how many people actually watched. Okay, so I do actually sometimes explain how I do things. So people ask me, like, where is my hair washing method? So in my last video, I actually kind of shared that, and I said I take my time combing my hair. And I have a reason for that, by the way, because back in, Victorian times and pre to Victorian times, people would comb out their hair like they did 100 brush strokes. And I don't think I do that, but I just gently comb my hair. And the whole idea is kind of mimicking that whole idea that you're taking oil from the top, the oil from your crown and your head, your sebum, it's going to come down and kind of hydrate your hair. Plus, to me, it kind of like it helps me kind of clean out my scalp. I know that sounds like weird to people, but basically this is what I do because I explained it a little bit in my video, but I finally did like a hair wash explaining video, but I don't think that many people really watched it and understood. But what it is, I've kind of learned over the years is basically you can extend out washing your hair, but I just do it differently. Like in the shower, I let the water hit my scalp and I kind of rinse my scalp out a bit. And then as I'm combing my hair, I find like a combination of water and oil is really good. Like, so I actually wet my hair a lot as I'm combing it out. So I just find like sometimes you take a little bit of water, a little bit of oil as I'm combing out. And that, with my hair being wavy, I just find that kind of helps to detangle my hair a little bit if I'm combing out a section. That's kind of I do not have straight hair, by the way. As you can see, my hair is quite wavy. It's actually kind of curly in some sections. And it starts curling up into itself. That's kind of a fun thing. Which isn't like that. Your hair does that. I don't know why I get annoyed with my hair when it does that, but that's the natural structure of my hair. I feel like maybe I just need to accept it more, but sometimes it's just annoying. Like if you're trying to braid your hair, you want it to flow into the braid, not curl up into it. One thing when my hair was shorter that used to kind of annoy me that I just didn't like people would say was the obsession with having like just pin straight hair in our culture. Okay. So my hair was always wavy and I didn't want to blow dry my hair or straight iron it to make it flat. But sometimes people would always say you have wavy hair and they would too. And that's cool. But I had this one friend and her hair is just like, okay. I listen to a lot of songs. Like I love 70s and 80s music. Like I just love classic rock. And lately, was I listening to? I was listening to Boston yesterday. Sometimes I listen to the Scorpions, Moody Blues. Sometimes I listen to Genesis. Genesis is really good. It depends on my mood, but it's gonna be 70s or 80s music. Start talking 1990 onward, I'm like, not as interested anymore. I love 70s and 80s music. If we were allowed to play music on here, I would, but they don't allow that. So I can't really tell you exactly what I mean. But I'm just not down with modern music. Like, occasionally there's a band I like, but I'm just like, I never really hear anything that. Okay, I just remember when I was young, and you would, like, very, very young, and you would look at MTV and they had these fun videos and just people who could play the guitar and sing, and I miss that. I miss, like, real musicians. Okay, like, people got really offended when Santana said that Adele is a real musician but Beyonce is a performer, but he wasn't wrong, because Adele can sing and Beyonce, she can sing. It's not that she can't sing, but she gravitates more to performance art. Like, I feel like that's the way music has gone. It's more about ostentatiousness, whereas, like, in the early days of videos, like, Bono, he didn't, like, dance around in a mansion with, like, a chandelier coming down, but, like, Taylor Swift, okay, when she does a video, mansion, chandelier, like, there's just all these, like, ostentatious things that just weren't happening. Like, with Bono, he'd be dancing on top of a building in New York, or he'd be out in Death Valley near the Joshua Tree, which has died, and it was just, music used to be so, it was a little bit more, it was edited, but just the imagery was a little bit more raw back then, and I really liked it. And I feel like that's something that got lost over time. You don't have, like, these well-rounded musicians anymore. Like, you have a few, I'm sure they're out there, but honestly, I don't really go looking for new acts unless they pop up on my radar. Interestingly, I think, yeah, if somebody has, like, kind of that acoustic style and they just pop up on my radar, I really like them. I was never a really super big Disney fan. People love Disney. Like, I don't have anything against Disney. I don't have anything against it. I just don't watch a lot of animated film. I liked going to Disneyland, but yeah, I don't know lots and lots about Disney movies, but people do really, like, I have friends, like, they love Disney. It just wasn't really my thing. Like, I just like 70s and 80s music. I love movies before the 2000s. Like, I've seen a few movies, but every time I watch an American movie nowadays, or American series, even the one on Netflix, what was the most recent thing I watched? Ginny and Georgia. I'm just like, it's so messed up. I'm just like, I've been watching some Korean films, and I don't know, like, I don't research who the music, but they have some interesting. So I'm not like a movie score person. I love classic rock. Like, I'm a classic rock person. Like, so if I were combing my hair and listening to music, it's going to be somebody from the 70s or 80s, depending on my mood for that day, so to speak. Yeah. But, there's a lot of Disney people out there. I'm just not. Don't ask me to know. I don't know the Disney scores. I haven't even watched, like, a Disney movie since, I don't know, when my nephew was little, in the early 2000s, maybe? I don't know. It's been a while. So I'm not the person to ask about that. But, maybe what you guys should do, I'll tell you what, I have an idea. If I were to do something on my community tab, because people are always like, oh, we should do more on the community tab. Why don't you pick a song that you think I should be styling my hair to? We could do that. Would people like that? And then we could have people comment on what they think. This is what my hair is looking like. We could have people comment on what song they think I should style my hair to. How about that? You could pick whatever song you think would look. So instead of me saying what song I think I should, I'm going to leave it to you guys. How about that? Anybody that's interested. I will try to remember if I have time. to post that? And I'm not saying I can post it because like YouTube copyright issues, but we could talk about it in the community tab. It might be fun. And then maybe we could have a fun conversation about it and people could find whatever song. Like it might just be an interesting, fun conversation in the community tab. We could do that. Okay, so I'm going to make a community tab about it and I'm going to see like what songs people recommend. And maybe it would be interesting too because we can see like there might be a lot of Disney fans out there and everybody could talk about it if they want to. And, might be a fun conversation. Actually one show so different though. I don't even know exactly who wrote the music score, but it was just so beautiful in a kind of melancholy way. Was this Turkish series I was watching, Magnificent Century, about Harem Sultan. It was kind of classical, but it was just so, you know, and I'm not really into animated films, but Disney should maybe make a movie about Harem Sultan. Like, that would be interesting. I'm like, Disney, you don't have any Middle Eastern characters, okay, besides Aladdin and Jasmine. Disney, like, why? Why don't you talk about Middle Eastern people? Because you don't know about any other topic besides Aladdin. That's kind of what I feel like. I'm like, there's so many really cool stories. The story of Harem Sultan and Suleiman the Magnificent. It's so beautiful, really. Okay, he was the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, and she was basically a slave, a Russian, Ukrainian, to be specific, slave. And he ended up freeing her because he loved her so much, and he married her, which never happened during that time period because the Ottoman sultans always took concubines. But he was just so smitten with her, and the story gets so interesting. I think Disney could make an interesting story out of this. Actually, they really could. Disney, why don't you make a movie about Harem Sultan? By the way, this is where it gets interesting. People accused her of witchcraft because the Sultan loved her so much that he married her and he broke the tradition of just having children with concubines. And you weren't supposed to have more than one son. You weren't supposed to have more than one son with a concubine, but yeah, he became just like faithful to her, like he was married to her, like he broke the whole tradition. That is an interesting story. Disney should make a story about that. Because there's so much more than Aladdin, because Aladdin's just based on a story that Scheherazade wrote in 101 Arabian Nights. And we don't have any like real characters. Like everybody's fighting all the time, but there's a lot of representation that hasn't happened. Just thinking, but that's just a thought. Because I know like they're talking about diversifying and coming up with new storylines. I'm like, but I guess outside of Turkey, nobody's really. Well, you know what? That's not true though, because in Latin America, I think this Magnificent Century, it gets so campy though after a while. But the early episodes of Magnificent Century are really interesting. The drama is tight. Is everything historically accurate? Not everything's historically accurate, but it's good acting and the score. I would have to look to see who wrote it, but I'm just like, it's pretty good. And Turkish people take their dramas very seriously. 190 minutes per episode. Americans, I don't know. I don't see a lot of American series that are that long, but I kind of like this sort of thing. Like, they draw it out and they get, same with the Koreans too. Like, you watch a Korean series, it's like more than an hour. I'm like, you guys are my grape jelly jam. It's longer than the like American shows. I'm just like, I think that's why I gravitate to like foreign films that kind of like flesh things out more. I like it. Oh, that sounds interesting. So great ideas, guys. Okay, I feel my hair kind of filling up at the bottom, so I need to wet it. Lots of water. And then some oil. And it's good water and oil mixture kind of, I feel like, helps with sort of, because I can't have, like, I feel like one thing I've noticed just with my texture of hair, if my hair is too dry, it's hard to comb it out. But if I wet it down, it's a little bit easier to come out. And that was one recommendation they always said, if you ever have like, well, this isn't going to work for straight hair, but if you have wavy hair, they said wetting your hair and then like conditioner. But I'm like, I'm not going to do that. But I just find if I kind of want to smooth out my hair, water and oil. I always just braided my hair when my hair was shorter. Do you like shorter hair? I feel like that's kind of your thing because I don't know, like you keep talking about shorter hair. Do you like, you must like shorter hair, I think. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I don't think that you're one of the long hair enthusiasts on a certain level, though. Like, you like long hair, but you like short hair too. So I feel like, okay, that's a little bit different than like what, like, I don't know, a lot of people that like really like long hair, they're always saying they like to see it longer, which I'm not growing my hair just because people want to see it longer. I just want to see my hair longer too. But that's just, unless, like, okay, I guess I get there's three different kinds of like feelings about it. There's people that want you to grow your hair as long as possible. There's people that like both short and long hair. And then you have the third people who they don't, I'm not a fan of them because they're the hair cutting fetish people. Oh, it's like, oh, you guys are gone. Well, nobody said that you're not looking on the inside, that you're not looking on the inside by taking pride in like having long hair or liking something. Actually, um I'm gonna say that that isn't completely true because I used to kind of believe that too. Like I used to think, oh, if people like are interested in like doing something with their looks, that they're not like looking inward. But that's not really true because you can do many things at the same time. And maybe for some people, like having long hair makes them feel good about themselves. And self care is really important. And I think finally people are acknowledging that. I think just doing something for yourself that makes you feel good is important. And there's nothing wrong with like caring about how you look. It's not a bad thing to care about how you look. You still can look within yourself. Actually, in a way, it's good because you know what you like, you know what makes you feel good about yourself. And when you feel good about yourself, you're going to be able to help other people more. So, I think the older I got, I kind of began to realize like it's not like, oh, you're not looking, so you can do both. You can be multifaceted. And like when somebody says, oh, you can only be one way or the other, I challenge them every day all the way because I'm like, you know what? No, you don't get to tell people what they're thinking and feeling or like, well, let's another example. Like a lot of women, I feel like that are attractive, like really beautiful model-esque kind of women. I feel like there's prejudice against them in a way because some people will accuse them of being superficial, which is not fair. And a lot of them are actually really intelligent women. Like there are some women that are supermodels and they also are getting like PhDs in chemistry. Like we can't say, we don't know just because somebody is interested in their looks or like is interested in self-care. But here on the other end of the spectrum, if those things are less important to someone, there's no mandate that you have to care about those things. And you shouldn't, let me preface it this way. You shouldn't let things that you care about, whether it be inward or outward, be dictated by other people. And I actually am kind of different, and my thinking has evolved on this over time. I think you're a stronger and more kind person when you do actually take a lot of time to do things that make you happy, whether it be self-care, thinking about long hair, or whatever it is that makes you feel good, like physical fitness, working out, eating healthier. There's nothing wrong with like, because honestly, that's one thing too that I kind of want to get back into is like, I eat relatively healthy, but I'm always like, yeah, I want to get back more into doing smoothies and really being a little bit cleaner with how I eat. And those are actually really good things for you. Like self-care is wonderful. It makes you feel better on the inside and out, and it helps you to care more about other people, you know? Like it's a very complicated issue. Oh, yeah, I had different glasses like April 14th. Yeah, I know which ones you're talking about. Those ones actually cracked because I had those glasses for several years. And one of the fun things about glasses is, well, if you're really careful, you know, this will never happen to you. But, you know, sometimes I tend to fall asleep with my glasses on. I'm sorry that I'm not perfect. Like, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have a type A personality. Some people have a type A personality where they would always put their glasses away and they would never fall asleep with their glasses on. And I'm just like, sometimes, like, when I start hearing type A people talk, I'm like, I need to get away from you and go for a walk because you're just so rigid. It makes me, like, not want to, like, I don't know. Does anybody like when type A's start prattling on about how perfect they do everything? You're just like, yeah, okay. Like womp womp womp. That's kind of my thing. So I ended up cracking those glasses because I fell asleep on them. So now I actually have several pairs of glasses because on my other channel I explained that I'd ordered a couple pairs, and then I have some pairs of glasses I don't even wear right now because of the mask. Because I don't this is the one thing, like, I never even thought I would consider LASIK surgery, but I've been on the edge of considering when maybe I have insurance again about getting LASIK surgery because I kind of hate wearing glasses with a mask. And considering we might have to wear masks for many years, I'm like, I'm not sure I would go that route, but I sometimes am thinking about it because I'm like, life would be just so much more comfortable if I didn't have to wear glasses with a mask. I really hate it. I'm just like, I hate everything about the mask. Like, I really hate on the mask a lot because I'm like, you have to wear it. But I'm not going to pretend I love it. It makes you not want to eat lunch. I'm just like, yesterday when I ate lunch, I'm not going to pretend like it's so wonderful. Like, okay. Yesterday when I ate lunch, it makes me feel like I don't want to eat lunch some days because then you come back. And I'm the kind of person that some days, depending on my just how I'm feeling that day, yesterday I was hyperventilating in the mask, okay? Like everybody keeps saying the mask is no big deal, but this is why I'm not an anti-masker. I follow all the rules with the mask, but this is why I kind of am not judgmental of people that have issues with the mask because everything about the mask has taken away something that brings joy to me because I like to smile. And a lot of people that like are kind of pushy, they're like, well, we don't have to smile anymore and like it's so nice, but they didn't like it's kind of rude in a way because they just assume that everybody should like that because they do. And then maybe some people like showing their face. I don't like to cover my face. It doesn't make me feel like myself. And I don't agree with the people who say, well, you're not like you're selfish if you're not wanting to wear a mask. Like, look, the only reason I wear a mask is because we have to and to follow the rules. Like a lot of times nowadays you're not supposed to be going anywhere anyway. But there's a lot of hypocrisy around the mask. Let me tell you why. A lot of people will socialize and go out and they will make an excuse to do it, and they're not social distancing, by the way. Very dangerous behavior because they're wearing a mask and they can do it. Like people are starting to have gatherings again and they're starting to exercise and hang out with each other, but they say it's okay because they're all wearing masks. And my take is I don't really want to hang out in crowds anymore. I'm halfway through the vaccine, by the way. I'm not sure I think that's great either. I'm just doing it because, we kind of have to. The only reason is that I have reservations about it is I feel like people are kind of using it as an excuse to socialize again. And I'm not antisocial. Somebody accused me of that a while back. I'm not antisocial. I just have concerns. When there's a pandemic, we don't know, because this is still very beginning trial. You could get your vaccine and then you're socializing, wearing masks out around people, and you don't know. What if you get COVID? You don't. The only thing that this vaccine is guaranteeing is like it can minimize the chance of hospitalization. But I see people like they're lowering their guard a lot. I find it concerning. I mean, people already were, but I'm not gonna like go into groups. Like, I don't really want to go to social events or anywhere that's crowded. Like, I haven't eaten out at a restaurant. Like, I've ordered food, but I haven't eaten on a patio of a restaurant just because I still don't feel that's entirely safe. Like, to be honest with you, like, because you're still kind of near people, and people are really letting their guards down. I'm just like, wow, because they're always like, you should stand 6 feet apart, but I'm like, people aren't doing that. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Oh yeah, The Gift of the Magi is a really good story, and it's about long hair. And I don't know if I really like. Can I tell you what I really hate about that though? I feel like, okay, maybe shouldn't have sold something to get each other a material gift. That's the only thing I don't really like about that story, is they felt like they had to get each other a material gift. And I feel like maybe if they had just been more honest with each other, like first off, I really hate that she had to cut her hair in that story, just along with Little Women, unless that was something she ended up really wanting to do, but you don't get the feeling that's what she really wanted to do. So that's kind of what I don't like about the story. And another thing I don't like about it is I feel like if they had both been more honest with each other, which people are just not transparent enough, like they're just not, then, now, and forever. People don't live transparent lives. If you're transparent and you're upfront with people all the time, I don't feel like that would have happened. Like, they could have talked about it. So it's a nice story, but there's things I don't like about it. So I'm always very like open, like I always kind of think about things like when I watch a story, or I'm just always thinking like, what do I not like? That I don't like that. I don't like that he had to sell his watch and she had to sell her hair, and then they end up buying each other something, and then they sold the two things that they cared about. The thing that disappoints me about that story is that if they had just talked about it, maybe they could have been like, hey, we can't really afford to get each other Christmas gifts. Like, let's just spend quality time together. I would kind of like a remake of The Gift of the Magi where they both come to that conclusion. That's what I would like. It's not a bad story. I just don't really. It's a good story though. Like, I've seen several different renditions of it. I haven't seen that one, but usually, like, you have really good actresses. And in the original story, yes, she's a very sweet and caring person, but it's not even that bothers me about the story. It's just the whole idea that it kind of touches on, okay, just the whole holiday thing where we're all supposed to buy each other gifts, and not just a gift, any kind of gift. It has to be like something really amazing that knocks each other's socks off. But if people are honest with each other and they're like, hey, I don't have money this month, or you don't have money this month, we don't need to buy each other that material gift, and we could just spend quality time together, But that's kind of how I was raised. Like, yes, people got me gifts, but if there was like a year, like a Christmas where my parents didn't have a lot of money, they're going to be straight up with me, and they're going to say, you can't have every toy you see on television. You can have this. But they were honest with me. Like, I don't know, like honesty. Like, unless you're like growing up in a multi-millionaire household, if parents, spouses, couples, friends are more honest with each other, those situations do not arise. And I know, like, it's like such a great, like, there's like such a great premise to the story. But I always encourage people to think about stories too, and think about like why you might not agree with every story. I'm always thinking, I'm a thinker. I think things through. I'm getting ready to go to work soon. I work 38 hours this week. And I come home, clean the house, cook tonight. See, I'm just telling you, I'm a busy bee. Where do I sleep? I sleep somewhere. I'll schedule that in somewhere. I don't schedule it because, like I just said, I work 38 hours a week and I have to sleep sometime. And I have other live streams. Like I have to film one with Aya that we do on her channel. So I don't know whenever I get ready, probably. I don't give a time frame. Like, yeah, I'm never going to have a schedule like that because I have to basically, I don't like a lot of people that do YouTube. They don't, I mean, I don't want to stereotype. I could be wrong, but a lot of people who do YouTube, they don't work outside of YouTube or they work more from home. So they have more like flexibility to schedule that. But for me, no, I don't. I don't have that. Like I come on when I feel like. And also too, like I don't want to be burned out on YouTube. Like this is another thing I've talked about before. People who overschedule themselves, they get burned out super fast and then they don't want to do it anymore. That's why a lot of YouTubers stop posting. And in order for it to be fun for me, it's when I'm in the mood and I feel the muse. In the mood and feel the muse. Those two things are very important. So I don't know whenever I feel like it, maybe. That's my answer. I like the glasses on. It's just I can't really braid when I'm wearing glasses and they're not right here right now in the general vicinity. I need them to see though. Definitely. Like I don't my dad claimed that his vision got better later in life and that he didn't need glasses as much. But I'm like, I don't buy that. I'm like, you still need your glasses. But my vision, it hasn't improved like that. Like, if I'm standing this far away, I see text on the computer screen, but I can't really read it. Like, I can kind of see if I squint. But I have to get up really close like this. Like, from here to here, I can read it, like, a foot away. Oh, that may have been an edited video. I don't think that was a live stream video. Sometimes I do edited videos where it might just be the footage, and I'll explain why that happens sometimes. It's probably because my battery died on the camera, which I need to charge my battery again, because some of the edited videos to film with a Canon, and I find if I don't charge the battery more frequently, because the camera is a few years old now, like I'll be filming something, and it always happens to me right when I plan to film something. It's just funny. So I go to film something, and the memory card has plenty of space because I bought a nice new big memory card. But then, I didn't charge the. If you watch enough YouTube, you'll always hear somebody say, "My camera's about to die." It's so true, though. Like, unless you have a brand new camera, your battery becomes compromised over time. But I make it work. Like, I've had the camera for 4 years now, and I've just kept the battery going. Oh, that one I might not have because I think I was just talking and I got so into what I was talking about. um, Grease wasn't even my favorite show. I just thought that was ridiculous that we can't even have a musical anymore. I just thought, oh, that is absurd. But I'm surprised they haven't canceled more things yet. There's a lot of inappropriate things in society. I'm not saying everything's good in society, by the way. There's a lot of innuendos in children's shows. Look, And another reason I don't agree with canceling things is because back in the 90s, if you like Disney, by the way, you're probably going to remember this story. There was a conservative Christian group that wanted to cancel The Lion King. Okay, preposterous. I don't think a 4-year-old really saw this, but okay. There was this whole controversy, like circa 1995, where supposedly a 4-year-old child, which how would a 4-year-old child know how to spell this? Supposedly, this conservative Christian woman's 4-year-old son was watching, I think it was a son, it could be a daughter. It doesn't matter which child it was. It was a child, about 4. The story sounds preposterous to me, unless this is the most precocious child on the planet. The child was watching The Lion King, and I think it's baby Simba like sits down, and some dust goes in the air, and supposedly the dust spells out the word sex. And there was a Christian group that wanted to cancel The Lion King because supposedly they were saying the word sex to their 4-year-old child and trying to lead the child astray. But everybody was saying, how on earth would a 4-year-old child know how to read this word? Even if they could read, why would a 4-year-old child be reading this word? That's weird. That's really weird. It didn't make any sense. It seemed like the parents made up that story. And then there were just other things that they were accusing Disney. But the biggest thing that I kind of don't like these people for that were against Disney at that time, and if you're interested in Disney, you probably would like to know this story. They actually were against Disney because Disney was an equitable company that they were 20 years ahead of their time, by the way. Oh, they gave benefits to couples that were same-sex couples. So, okay, like back then, you couldn't get married in a lot of states, but you could have a civil union. And they gave Disney employees, whether you worked at one of the Disney parks or like for Disney Corporation, they gave those partners benefits so people wouldn't, so cruel, so hateful, really. If you're a Christian, I don't know how you're against people having medical benefits, because if somebody doesn't have medical benefits and they go to the hospital, and let's say they have something really minor, like, I don't know, like sciatica, and they need to get like some sort of, cortisone injection. So you would rather see people have to spend thousands of dollars in medical bills than a corporation, which has the money to do it, give benefits to people that don't meet your criteria. So these Christian groups wanted to ban movies and boycott Disney because they said Disney wasn't acting Christian, but Disney's not a religion. Disney is a secular corporation, and they can give benefits to whoever they want. It's none of that. So it used to be, that's why I don't like cancel culture, because it started with conservative groups back in the 90s that wanted to cancel movies and ban and boycott like theme parks. And then now it's like liberal people are doing the same thing, like saying there's things that they're offended about. There's always going to be something that somebody's offended about in a movie. And I really don't care for people that spend all their time looking for things to be offended about. That's why I probably didn't finish on braiding my hair in that video, because I just thought how Looney Tunes that people spend all their day looking for things that they don't like in shows instead of just changing the channel. So that's just my take on cancel culture, and that's why I said it's not good, because it originated with people that everybody could kind of agree at one time were just being so irrational. But now it's just become that, oh no, like, okay, I don't even love Dr. Seuss. I kind of hated The Grinch That Stole Christmas. I used to feel bombarded with that show. Like, look, I like a couple Dr. Seuss books. I like Yertle the Turtle. That was the one I really liked, okay? I'm not a big Dr. Seuss fan. I never was. But I hate it when they start saying they're going to ban a book or not publish a book anymore just because back in 1950 when it was written, may have contained content that's not for a modern audience. I'm like, well, that was the decision of Seuss Incorporated. If they don't want to publish their book anymore, whatever. But I guess what bothers me about that kind of thinking, like when it starts spilling over, because there could be a corporation, a movie making industry that wants to continue publishing or showing a certain film. And maybe they don't want to cancel their film. And then you'll have people that are considered woke. They're going to tell them, well, you're bad if you keep showing that. But what I don't get is, why are you watching that show or looking at it if it offends you so much? Like, I don't look at things that offend me. I just don't have time. Like, there was Here's an example. I'm not a big fan of like violence in movies. I hate it. If a movie's just since has nonsensical violence, I'm not going to watch it. Like I had a friend that just loved this one British movie, and I couldn't watch it after a while because the whole premise was it was some futuristic society and people kept stabbing each other. And she really liked the storyline, but I was distracted by the violence. So you know what I did? I just stopped watching the movie. I didn't like say, "Oh my God, Netflix, you better ban that movie." I said, "You know what? I know that that movie is not for me, okay? Not every show is for us. Not every book is for us. There's a lot of things in this world that I had no interest in reading or watching." And it's funny because back in the 80s and 90s, people used to be savvy enough to say, well, isn't that funny that they have to put a warning on a song because, like a parental warning? Fine, they can do that. They can do that, but there were people, and this is another time when it was a liberal, but a Christian, Tipper Gore, Al Gore's wife, who wanted to ban songs, songs like, I hate censorship. I don't like censorship of any kind. And even if a corporation gets together and say they don't want to publish a book anymore because some people are offended by that, I'm offended by people that think like that, okay? So I probably didn't finish unbraiding my hair that day because I just thought, do you really want to spend your whole life pandering to people? It's going to change every 5 minutes anyway. There's going to be another thing tomorrow that people are offended about. Like, look, recently I watched Ginny and Georgia, which was a very woke show, okay? Very woke. Like, it's very politically correct. Although I guess they made a joke on the show and it offended people. And it wasn't, I just thought it was a dumb joke. It was a joke about how Taylor Swift goes through boyfriends. She goes through lots of boyfriends. And I just thought, that's a stupid joke. But I guess people were saying, oh, they need to apologize. And there's a younger actress that made the joke. She's an actress. It was a line she read in the movie, so in the series. So people went to her social media and started scolding her for it, even though she didn't write the series. She's an actress. And I'm like, there seems to be no blurred lines. I'm just like, yeah, it was a dumb joke, but really, like, why don't you just let it go? I'm not saying I love dumb jokes or anything, but I'm just like, when are you going to please everybody? Because that show, it's pretty dark, but it's pretty, like, politically correct in a lot of ways. Like, it talks about social justice and everything, but it's still not good enough because they made one joke, I guess, which wasn't funny, that offended somebody. So I'm just saying, you're never going to make everybody happy. There's always going to be one person that's offended by something in a story. And I don't understand these people because I'm just like, okay, if I don't like something, I don't have to watch it again, I don't have to look at it. It's that simple. No, nobody's going to touch my hair these days. People don't touch anybody because of COVID. And if they do, they're no, like if honestly in COVID time somebody's going to go up and touch each other without permission. I will eventually, Renaud. Anyway, hey Renaud, do you know the brand Yves Rocher in France? I was going to ask you about that. It's probably, I don't know how well known it is in your country, or is it considered just kind of obscure? Because I was thinking about that. Do people in France actually use that brand? Have you heard of it? It's made in France. I thought I'd ask you. Anyway, I probably should get going. I'm just ranting about like cancel culture. That's not really long hair related. So as you can see, is my channel always about hair? Probably not. It's also about social issues and current events and just looking at things more globally, like with a more expansive viewpoint. So yeah, have a nice day.